Da-da-da! A few videos back, I had mentioned that I was almost done writing a children's book, and it is finally finished and here. Loved from above. Get it? Like above? Loved? So anyway, I'm super excited about it. I both wrote it and illustrated it. It is a children's book that rhymes, and it goes week by week through a mother's pregnancy. And so starting from week 1 of pregnancy, what's happening to a baby through its development. And so in week 1, I start by just talking about how the mom's body is preparing. She might be a little tired and things like that, because technically in your first week of your cycle, you may not officially be pregnant because conception may not have happened yet. So then it goes through and talks about how the mom might have a clue but doesn't really know if a baby's going to be due. And then at week 4 is where I show the official pregnancy test confirmation. So I had 2 main goals in mind as I wrote this book. I thought it would be nice to have an illustrated book on this topic for children who may be siblings or have a family member who is pregnant, and they're so excited to follow along week by week. Because you know that there are those apps on the phone that can show you, how large is the baby this week, what's happening, what are they doing, and it's so fun to experience and watch. And I remember my stepdaughter, when I was pregnant, was asking me every day and every week, what is the baby doing now? Can you read me this week on the app again? And it was a lot of fun, but it would have been cool to have something that she could look at herself too. And so that's one thing that I think is awesome with this book. The second thing is, and I tend to be somewhat of a private person, but also when it comes to children, I believe it's super important to protect their innocence and pure hearts and minds as long as we can. I don't think it's important to encourage them to grow up fast, but the thing is, as believers in Christ, we need to teach them good, holy, moral values starting at a young age. And yes, that's even for topics like abortion. It's such a hard and heavy topic to share with children, but we need to. We need to, because we can't be waiting until they are a teenager and already their minds are going crazy. They're thinking of all these different things. Maybe they're in relationships. Maybe their doctors are starting to talk about birth control options and this and that. We can't wait till then to bring this up to them. We have to show them the beauty of life starting from day 1. Now, of course, that doesn't mean we have to go give them like the whole spiel of everything, but we need to consciously and throughout their whole life reveal to them and show to them so that they can make their own decision. We're not brainwashing them. We're not shoving our beliefs and opinions on them. We're just showing them so they can see the truth and make their own decision. We need to show them and reveal to them the beauty of life at its beginning, early, precious, fragile stages. And that's what I wanted to accomplish with this book. So it's pro-life in the sense that you can see the development of a baby in a fun, illustrated way. You know that right away, eye color and hair color have been determined in their DNA, and that the heart starts beating at around 4 to 5 weeks in, which is very important because by the time you even know that you're pregnant, you're about 4 to 5 weeks in. And so that's just a key important thing for people to know. And there are people out there who want to hide that fact from everybody, particularly women, particularly pregnant women. And so if you teach your child the truth at a young age and they see this fun, cute illustration in this book, my prayer is that somehow, somewhere, that'll just stick with them through time. And that's really what to me is so important about this book. It's just revealing that we are loved from our Creator from day 1. I put the Jeremiah verse, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That's what we read in Scripture. I thought that was an important verse to add. So I was debating if I should make it prayer-oriented at all, but it it's just such an important verse to include, and so I do mention prayer in the book. But if you do get it and read it, and I get some feedback where people are saying that I should make a secular version, I will do that too. I was thinking about it, and a few people who have read it mentioned that it might not be a bad idea to do more of a secular-based one where I don't mention prayer or scripture, not because I don't believe it, but it could be a way for all children, maybe their parents aren't prayerful and they wouldn't buy something that mentions prayer, but maybe they would buy something that doesn't and that just comes off as secular, but still the child can have that reminder that this is a human being we're talking about here, not just, cells, and that ultimately somebody's opinion of our worth doesn't determine whether or not we should be allowed to stay alive. And that's really what the whole thing comes down to, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit off track here, but really it's just, whether or not people think a mother should determine value, or if humans are valuable simply because they're human. That's really what it is at its core, right? So anyway, I'm very excited about the book. It's really cute, it rhymes, it has fun illustrations. I just hope that it's something that can bring joy to families in a fun, sweet way, and to be able to share that truth with little ones about what is happening week by week when a mother is pregnant. And real quick, I'll just read you one spread here so you get the idea of how it is very simple, not overly complex or anything, but it just gives you an idea of what is happening. So at week 15, the joints and limbs can all move. Though mommy can't feel it, joint movement improves. In week 16, baby can hear mommy's voice. They can even hear music. Musicians rejoice. And then I'll also read week 5. Time for week 5. It sure feels good to be alive. Baby gets bigger and is starting to thrive. The baby's heart has started to beat. A tiny beating heart. Isn't that sweet? So as you can see there, each bit is pretty small, easily digestible, and I created it to be somewhat open-ended, so if you did want to dive deeper into a particular thing that's happening, you could start that type of dialogue. So if you have children of a wide variety of ages, this could be a good thing for them to see. Oh, and like I said, I am very sensitive. So this is just me letting people who are very sensitive know. I do have an illustration of a pregnancy test on here, and it says, at week 4, mom can learn she's expecting a baby. A test with 2 lines means yes, not a maybe. And so the reason I included this here was because I did want it to be accurate, but I think it's done in such a way where if you wanted to go deeper and say, exactly what happens when you're taking a pregnancy test, you could, or you could say like, oh yeah, the doctor has this test, this is how you know, and that's it. So that's the only page I would say where there's anything that's remotely questionable. So if you're weird about your child knowing what a pregnancy test looks like, you may not like that, but I did choose to include that because I think it just shows what's happening, what's going on, and connects the image of a pregnancy test with something positive and exciting happening. And I really do hope that seeing this just reminds children as they grow in some way, like it just sticks in them. So when they are in these situations down later in life, when circumstances may be different and everything like that, they will just be reminded of the beauty of human life. So that's a little bit about my new book, Loved from Above. It is available on Amazon if you're interested in it, and I will leave the link below. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.